If you are between ages 16 and 25 in the United States, and I can plead of you one thing, it is this. Please stop listening to old people. Anyone over like 35, but especially over 60. Most of these people...
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel. City boy! City boy! Yo, that's a wild take, dog. Bro, coming from someone, and I'm just going to judge real quick because I could be absolutely wrong, so let me hold those L's if I am. Looking like he's at his grandparents' wood cabin that actually looks fire. Talking about don't listen to them. All right, let's say maybe he's the GOAT. He's on TikTok. Escape the Slop is his joint, so you can go check him out there. Boomers, Gen Z, FYP, da-da-da-da. Okay. It says jungle, original sound, jungle talk. What the hell? Hopefully they don't play no music, man. Music be ruining YouTube, dog. Copyright claim system is insane. All right, I'm going to hit him with a like just because we watching his content. If you rock with me, I'm Black Pegasus. Like, share, comment, subscribe, link in the description of my other channels. Lego! This is Escape the Slob. I'm going to call him Luke. He looks like a Luke. Hey, Luke. How's it going, bud? Let's see what you got to say. He's saying, don't listen to them boomers. Bro, experience is the best teacher, man. You could have learned a lot from wisdom. But I got some gems in here, too, because, you know, there's new ways, y'all. There's new ways through the world, bro. The world is changing. And, like, these old school ways of, like, even getting money, like, it's really changed. So you do got to listen to the youth at some capacity. Like, when you talking about, like, crypto, AI, you know, becoming a content creator, a bunch of different things that have a lot of value that a lot of the older generation does not understand, you know, there is some value there too. But let's hear a young man out real quick.
If you are between ages 16 and 25 in the United States, and I can plead of you one thing, it is this. Please stop listening to old people. Anyone over like 35, but especially over 60. Most of these people have been crushed spiritually, and they will do it to you. They will dismiss any idea or perspective that you have under the guise of their like life experience. But life experience doing what, right?
Hold on. There's some nuance. He's actually cooking. I talk about this, but don't listen to me, you guys, because I'm 45. So he shouldn't listen to what I'm about to say, even though it's kind of dead on and it aligns with what he's saying. He talking about dream killers, bro. See, I'm a creative, bro. Like, I'm a rapper. People won't let me call myself a musician anymore because I've never played a musical instrument, but I'm a rap artist. Yo, son. But I've always been a dreamer connected to art, and I recognize this early. How people are so from the education system to different aspects of life, you're kind of trained to give up your imagination, your creativity, your passions, and a lot of things in life. And people are just a shell of what they used to be. He's not wrong with that. Let's see where he goes. I don't want to give him too much gas, but he ain't wrong. Now, so there's these things that elderly can help you with, right? Like, they can help you navigate the world from a very a logical, common sense place, but you have to look at who you're talking to. Don't try to get information about how to be successful with the business with people who haven't been successful with the business, right? If they were successful in, let's say, education, then if you're going to be a teacher, you could probably get some insights from them, maybe even resources, utilize their connections to come up. But if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, business, a musician, get that from a successful musician. Like him saying this, it's just, let's hear him out. Because what he's saying isn't wrong, but I'm telling you, like, you go talk to a successful musician who's like the GOAT in his area, you're going to get some good advice as a young musician. That's how people grow and step through the doors faster. But anyways, let's hear him out. He's starting to cook a little bit.
Like life experience. But life experience doing what, right? Life experience like going between the house and the grocery store. So the thing is, most of these people don't actually have life experience, okay? Way back when age was actually synonymous with life experience. when people were like dying from like getting trampled by a horse or like raided by a neighboring tribe, you had to know a thing or two to last to that ripe age. That's not what's happening anymore, though. Now you can be lights on, no one's home for 60 years, never actually put yourself out there, and then one day decide you've hit the appropriate age to tell people how to live and what to think. On the other hand, you've got guys like George Washington who are leading troops into battle at the age of a college senior today. Napoleon was a general at like 24. Steve Jobs started Apple at I think 21. So when you've got a guy who's like 60 and he's telling you that you don't know what you're talking about, what I would remind him is that Alexander the Great conquered the known world in his 20s, and this guy has 30 years of experience selling insurance. So this like myth that you need to basically like mull about for 15 or 20 years, like chauffeuring the kids to soccer before you have experience to talk about things, is just, I don't know where it came from, but it certainly was not reality.
So, there's a little bit of an arrogance to this conversation. He's not totally wrong because where you get your information from is actually very important. And sifting through the people who have BS through life and then want to tell you how to live your life, or what I call the dream killers, who are like, no, that's luck, that's this, that would never happen. You need to do this. I understand where he's coming from. But the one thing that I learned, and I learned this actually from jujitsu, because I have been doing jujitsu 9 years, getting close to 10. I'm a brown belt, and if I'm being honest, I'm okay. Like, I'm not like one of these brown belts who competes. I don't go in there and try to tap everyone. I just do the martial arts. So like my belt represents how long I've been doing it, and not always like the skill level, right? Like there's these competitors, there's these really hot, like people who just study it every day. I go 2-3 times a week. I don't go crazy. I learn, I get better, right? But I say that to say this. When I get on the mats, there could be this young guy who's a white belt and he got a really good technique, and I can learn from him. Just like I can learn from the master, the black belt there. And just like they can, like this white belt might sub me, but then I'm like, hey, you're doing this wrong. You could, if he was arrogant and doesn't listen to, I know, even though I might, because that's the other, anyways, the concept of each one, teach one is what I learned from martial arts. Because even at a basic level, I can watch a beginner and be like, oh, yeah, this is why you do this, and remind myself, this is why you keep your head up and you move like this, or you throw feints before you try to take someone down. Like each one, teach one, you can learn from everyone. So the fundamental part of this approach is just like, yo, yeah, someone might have been filing paperwork forever. And if you really want to advance in life, you probably don't want to take advice from them at some capacity. However, if you're stuck with them in a cabin for a month or something, I guarantee there's something you can learn from. There's something you can learn from anyone. And that's just one of those things that I'm on. I'm like just a very curious person. And what he's saying isn't totally wrong, but I think the approach is just on some, like, you could tell he's probably like one of those smart kids, like, because he's just saying like Alexander the Great did this at this age. I was like, oh, did he? Shit, I didn't even know that, man. Don't listen to me, man, about some historical shit. Don't listen to P about history, bro. But if you want to get into some content creation and some, marketing strategies and some shit like that, holla at your boy. I be in there. Anyways, but you shouldn't listen to me because I'm 45 years old, you guys. Remember that. Do not come to, when Black Pegasus gets his $1 million and is ultra successful, do not come to me for advice because I'm 45, you guys. Remember that. If you're over the age of 35, you shouldn't listen to them, right? Because Napoleon Dynamite was a general at 21. So if you didn't catch the sarcasm there, F off.
And it's sad. It sucks, honestly, that the older people in the United States are kind of like no longer the wisdom bearing class. But when you talk to these people, like, I'm sorry, it's undeniable. Like, you go digging for any like shred of wisdom or intellect, and all you find is that These people just really aren't any different than any other kerfuffled mouth breather who's upset about how their steak got cooked at Margaritaville. So yeah, go change the world on your own. 6-year-olds have never changed anything, and they're certainly not doing it now, even in the United States Congress.
Yeah, that's just that generational shit. Like, what's funny? He says that now. He gonna grow up, mature a little bit. Like he's probably has a little bit of wisdom for his age. I could see that. You know what I'm saying? But that's just a blanket statement that's actually full of a lot of because most people who are over the age of 40 do have lived experience. And if they really dial in and try to think of things like, so people forget. I said the successful people. Okay. I said, oh, listen to the successful people, but you can learn a lot from unsuccessful people. That's what lived experience brings. And so just to downplay that and throw it out with the bathwater, you know what I'm saying? Like that's on him. He might be trolling a little bit. He might not be. I think that youthful energy of change the world, because I was there, you were there at some point, that you're 18, you're like, yo, you're like Viva Revolution type, like, yo, we're going to change the world. And that's how you're supposed to be when you're that age. And I think at some capacity, as we get older, we still want to change the world, but we just have a different route to that change and how we see it. I ain't gonna lie though, he ain't lying with this Congress. Like if we talking about politics changing the world, man, I've totally like every now and then I'll discuss politics on this channel. We go back and forth with some of the Trizump stuff, but like let's just keep it real. These MFers, like, there's a lot of. There was actually a really good interview that I was really surprised. Anna Kasparian, which is on the left, did an interview with Tucker Carlson, which is on the right. And both of them kind of had a lot of middle ground conversation. I was surprised. I was like, oh, I thought this was going to be an all out war, and it wasn't. And this is just another example of like when the people get together and start talking, we do not want any, like Congress, Senate, president. We do not agree with them at any capacity. The majority of Americans do not agree with a bunch of this. And most of us agree on, set things. However, I can understand how the youth feel ostracized. They have a lot of different barriers to entry. Now, every time I talk about their barriers to entry, they also have a lot of advantages. So I don't understand if this generation just doesn't take advantage of the certain things that have been bestowed upon them. Like the craziest thing to me, the craziest invention for me being 45 is the phone in your pocket. You guys, I used to utilize my dad's handy cam, okay, to make these little movies in my backyard when I was 13 and 12. So 1992 and 1993, make these movies with a handy cam. Then I would have the jerry rig, 3 VCRs, 2 VCRs to try to edit these tapes and make these little movies that I would make. That's how long I've been making content, you guys. Before anyone would watch it, I would just do it because I enjoyed it and loved seeing it. Now, I could literally film in 1080p or 4K a movie, edit it on my phone, put it on YouTube. There are so many advantages that the youth have from the digital, but I'm not saying they're not taking advantage of it. I just don't know. I just came from the era where like I was a rapper. I had to promote with flyers. I had to spend all this money ordering 5,000 flyers from flyerclub.com and then go give flyers out to people one by one and put them on cars downtown while people are drunk, fighting, having shootouts. Now people just send a text message. Artificial intelligence can write all your fucking essays for college now. You just got to put the right prompts and tell them to take out certain things that makes it look like AI. Like they have so many advantages to get to certain destinations, but they do have barriers to entry, the interest rate, the housing market, the dating crisis, the this, the that, I get it. So I understand why he's bitter towards old folks. But my thing is just going to be simple. Each one, teach one. We can all learn a little something from everyone, and that's facts. Anyways, let me know what I got, what I missed. I'll holla at y'all later.
City boy, city boy.